What up, good people? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a minute, my bad, but due to COVID-19, Black Lives Matter movement, RIP George Floyd, there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot. So this video has been the last thing on my mind. Nonetheless, we're back, dropping another legendary video. Let's get this out of the way first. In order to be notified when we drop one of these videos, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So every time we drop a video, you will be notified. And that way you'll be the first to watch it. You'll be the first to like, you'll be the first to comment. Do what you gotta do. Support the channel. Yeah, this legend that's coming up today, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, the numbers she put up in college, playing professional, 13 years, she's a lot to say. So get your popcorn ready, tune in, ears wide open. If you're in your office, throw some headphones on. You boss will never know. You'll never know. Don't forget, leave a comment, follow us on social media, and yeah, enjoy. Peace.
Can you talk about like your journey and how you have gotten to the University of Arizona?
So my journey was a little different. Played professional basketball for 13 years after college. So got into my coaching career late. So after college, I was kind of like at that transition point, like, what do I want to do? I knew I loved basketball. I knew I loved mentoring, but I wasn't really sure about coaching. So I made my base in Seattle, Washington, because that's kind of where I had been for a long time. And then at that time that I decided to move there permanently after I was playing, Coach Kevin McGuff got the Washington job. So when he got the Washington job, I didn't want to move from Seattle at all. He gave me a call, and I ended up getting hired at Washington. At that point, I didn't know for sure if I wanted to coach. I wanted to see if I liked it. If not, I was going to get into broadcasting. So I was still doing broadcasting on the side. Took the job at Washington. I was going to say, hey, let me see if I love coaching or not. Started to love coaching, and then just kind of stayed in it from there. From then on, McGuff still let me do broadcasting. So while I was coaching in the summers, I was traveling and doing TV and radio for the Seattle Storm. So I did that for like my whole 5 years at Washington. And then my alma mater, a job came open. I didn't go for the job. I just had a baby. I had a 7-month-old baby. And wasn't sure if it was the right timing for, a head coaching job. But then, they came and kind of recruited me. And recruited me well. And I thought, hey, I'm going to go for it. I don't think you'll ever be ready. And I don't think there's ever a good time. So then that's kind of how I got here to my alma mater, and it was a great decision.
Okay, so you just talked about like you did broadcasting and then you got the job. What was that like deciding factor for you that made you know you wanted to be a coach?
Well, at first I didn't really know what it entailed, and I'm going to be honest. After playing pro for 13 years, the first year of coaching was hard. Because as a pro, you like work 4 hours a day and you have a lot of freedom. And then like my first, year of coaching, you're working like 14 hours a day. And as a pro for many years, I took like a nap every day for like 13 years. And so I remember halfway through the day, I'd be like, oh gosh, like this is long. And then I got my first check. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, so much money was taken out for taxes. Well, overseas, you get like a lump sum of cash. If you get 1,000, you get 1,000. So I was like, this is working my butt up, and you get paid way less. That was a big reality check. But then what I loved was I loved interactions like with you as a player. I loved mentoring. I loved being there. I loved the fact that I played and helping players get to where I've been. I think I love those things more, and it didn't feel like a job after I got used to all the hours. I loved the relationships. I loved just being a part of it and teaching and those kind of things. As a broadcaster, I loved the broadcasting, but I didn't feel like I was making an impact. I just could talk to players, interview, do stuff. Even when I did college basketball, like before I started coaching, I would just go there, you study a game and then you just like leave. I felt like I was like missing out on being a part of like these young women's lives because basketball did everything for me. It changed my life. So I think that's why I love this job.
Okay, so can you talk about like your life as a pro, like those 13 years you played? I know like obviously it's a lot different now, so can you like kind of go into detail of maybe the differences you see of a pro when you were a pro and a pro now?
I think there's so many differences. I think our generation worked a lot harder, played a lot harder. We were a lot tougher. Like I grew up for my whole, like from when I was 10 to like 30, playing on the asphalt against guys. So like you can't, when you're 11, 12, 13, 14, you can't cry. And you just have to be tougher. You get your shot blocked. You like, it's harder. And so I think that made me a lot tougher. This generation and your generation, you guys never played with guys. You just played AAU. It's just so different. So I see a difference. I see a difference in the coping skills, the resiliency, and the work ethic, and like the entitlement. I didn't expect all this stuff when I went to college. We had a crappy locker room. We had community showers. And like now my players like, oh, why don't we have, they were begging me for a massage chair. I got it for them. But it was just the fact that we didn't even have those things. So I think there was a different appreciation and not an expectation. And the pros now, I think it's, since the new collective bargaining agreement with the WNBA, it's a lot better. Because like I was a pro. I started off at $39,500 when I first got drafted. And I went up to, I think, like 60. But now, like, rookies start at 68. I think it's a big thing. And now you don't have to go overseas. We all went overseas. We didn't have a choice. Because you could make like $2,000 a month staying in the WNBA for, you know, like just to do marketing for them. I did that one year. But like, you know, then you could go make $10,000, $20,000 overseas. So now I think there's so many more opportunities to stay in America and make the WNBA more of a career. Before it couldn't be your only job. Right. So I think it's just changed. But I think the players are better now. They're faster. They're more athletic. Like we never had skill training and stuff. We didn't have all these individual coaches. We didn't have any of that. I didn't play AAU. So just a different mentality. I think there's a lot more helicopter parents nowadays. Like my parents would have never called my coach. And like you'd be amazed, parents call coaches, and like it's just totally different. I would have never been able to transfer. If I would have tried to transfer or go home, my parents would have said, "Oh no, you're not. Like you're going out of college. You won't get help from me ever again." Like it would have never been a thought. And now it's just like the norm. When things are hard, you just quit. Right. So those things it wasn't even something you thought of when I was playing. It wasn't even no one did it. It was very rare. Like one in a couple hundred maybe did it. Now there's like over 500 kids in the portal. So it's a completely different generation.
Wow. That was a great answer, Barnes. Okay.
Sure. Easy.
So you're the best player in Arizona women's basketball history.
Which isn't saying much because we were bad for a long time. So that's not like we weren't good and I was the best player. We were bad for a long time.
But now you're the head coach of your alma mater, right? So like, what does that mean to you? How special is that to you? And like, what made you feel that you were the right person for that job to take that struggling program and to take it to unprecedented heights that you guys are now?
Well, so the first thing is I didn't know if it was the right thing. I wasn't one of those assistant coaches that was like, oh, I want to get a head coaching job and tries for a head coaching job every year like a lot of coaches. That wasn't what and I hadn't been an assistant for 20 years. Usually when you're an assistant for a really long time, you obviously aspire to be a head coach. I was only an assistant for 5 years. So it wasn't, and I had a baby. It wasn't even on my radar to try to go for a head coaching job. And I'm not the type, I wouldn't want to go for a job. I want someone to come after me. So when the opening of my alma mater came, I wasn't sure if I should take it. I honestly listened in the beginning, but I didn't know if I wanted it. Because I remember being asked a couple of years before, oh, would you be interested? I was like, no. And I talked to a lot of my mentors, like people I really respect in the business that are like people I look up to. And they told me not to take this job. Wow. They said it was the most underpaid job. We can't recruit here. There's no investment in the program, all this stuff. So I had to really do my research, and I sat down with the AD a lot and just wanted to make sure, it was the right fit. Wanted to make sure that they had the resources. I knew they had the facilities because they had taken me on a tour the year before. The facilities were beautiful, but I wanted to make sure the AD was going to put money into the program and support the program. And I didn't know that. So if I wouldn't have felt those things, I wouldn't have taken a job because I knew that I would get a head coaching job one day. I knew in a couple of years, I just had confidence in that. Just from all the connections and the work I did, I knew I was going to grow. So I just decided to take a leap of faith and took it. But I wasn't sure how long it would take to be good. I knew that I could recruit. I knew I could recruit the place I went to, but I didn't know, like, could I get us to be, if you would have said, oh, in 4 years, you'll be ranked preseason top 7, I would have said, okay, you're not funny. It might be like 10 years, but that's okay. Like, you know, and then the thing is that 10 years, you only get a 5-year contract. So I wasn't sure about those things. And then I think strategically, we just made some moves that happened to luck out, and like getting Aerie and different players, it just kind of happened fast. But if I would have listened to people, I wouldn't have taken this job. And I was the most underpaid coach. Like, I was the lowest paid coach in all Power 5. I think by like $30,000-$40,000 out of all Power 5 and in the Pac-12. But for me, it wasn't about the money. When I first got the coaching job in Washington, I didn't even ask how much I would get paid until like the very end when I was getting hired. So it wasn't about the money. When I got this job, I knew it was way more money. It was like double what I had before. But I didn't go out and research what everybody makes in the Pac-12 because I had only been an assistant coach for 5 years and I had something to prove. So my mentality was, okay, I'm going to show all these people that we can recruit here and just kind of give the bird and then do what I do. So I just, I know all the other stuff always comes. So I wasn't someone that chases dollars. And that's a good thing about playing. When you play a long time and you're smart with your stuff, you don't have to go chase dollars at your first couple jobs. So it was good.
Yeah. So you talked about how, like, you guys have had a lot of recent success. And which is pretty remarkable considering like what you guys were before you got there, right?
We were bad.
Right. It's like really remarkable what you've done there. So what would you say is the one main thing that's really attributed to that success? Like
the first thing was focusing on culture. It was the most important thing. And so I knew when I got the job, we weren't good. We weren't a good program. We had an awful image. The things that people said to me when I first got here, I was so offended. And it's kind of like, whoa. And I think the thing that was more offensive, when it's your alma mater and this place was good, it's a little bit more offensive. So it's like, okay. Like, I didn't hear, probably the first 6 months I took this job, I did not hear one good thing about the program. Not one. Like, I can't even remember someone saying, oh, you guys will be good one day. I mean, I remember people telling me, oh, you have a whole bunch of gangster people. Oh, you have this. Oh, you have... When I first got here, a girl had missed so much class the year before. She was going to be suspended the first 10%. A starter was going to be suspended for the first part of the season. It was just so much stuff, like so much off-the-court stuff and everything. But I said, okay, you can't be bad on the court, and then you can't be bad off the court. So I took these kids. We were at a very low APR, a very low GPA. And I remember getting a little offended because I remember sitting in some academic meetings, and like our bar was set so low. Like our bar was we had like a 2.7, and I remember in the meetings it kept on being said, we just don't want them to fail. And I was kind of like offended. I was like, I would do a double take with like 10 people, and I was like, that's not how I was like offended, and I kind of was mad, and I kind of probably seemed like, you know what? And I said, that's not how I approach things. Like, we don't use that terminology with my team. Like, I don't say that. So I was mad, and so I took it personal. And my first mission was to get us up from a 2.7 to a 3.0. And I remember saying in this group, oh, my goal's a 3.0. And everybody laughed. And, like, I didn't laugh, and I didn't think it was funny. And I was like, yeah, because they're going to go to class while I'm here. So we weren't allowed to class check. And so I class checked, and staff class checked, and I was like, okay, well, they're not going to have 2.7. So I brought that same group of kids to a 3.0, and it was just, like, amazing. But it was the fact that, like, we class checked every day. We, like, were on them. I was doing extra study hall in our office. And then the other thing I said was, we can't be bad in the community and be losing all of our games. So we did so much community service. I was like, we're going to be good at something. This is one of the things we're good at. And we did community service. We won that award the first year. And it was like, that was the change initially with the same kids. It wasn't like, we didn't have bad people. It was just, my focus was different. So I got the community service award, got to 3.0, and it was like a miracle. We were still bad on the court, but at least we were good in a couple things instead of being bad at everything. And then, like, started to recruit. I mean, and remember, we recruited on a vision. We were like, every time we were chosen, like 11th, we finished 10th. We were chosen 10th, we finished 9th. We were chosen sixth this year. We finished fourth. So every year I've been here, we finished better than we were supposed to. And we've gotten better. We've broken our own academics every year. We're at a 3.2 now as a team. Wow. We've won the Community Assist Award every year since I've been here because I value those things, and we were going to do those things. Because I was like, we're not going to be bad at all those things. And so I think the process of focusing on the culture, on the kids, making sure I get the right pieces, that was the most important thing that I put all my energy on until we got better and got better players, and then like got the system, changed a little bit of defensive strategy, decided to be more aggressive because I just knew in the court we can't beat like the Stanfords, Oregons. We couldn't because they were bigger, stronger inside, more depth. So then playing fast was like the best thing we did. And it's just worked. So I think just the evolution, but the culture was the first thing, like by far. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 most important things.
Okay. So now we're going to kind of go into stuff that's like outside of basketball. Okay. So talk about like what it's like to be a woman of color in your position, and how does that play into the life of your student athletes?
I think it plays a big role, and it's funny because you don't realize all those things till you're in it and it's pointed out. Like I never realized like there was no women of color as head coaches in the Pac-12 until someone told me. Because when I first got in the league, it was me and Cynthia Cooper and I. But I didn't know that stuff or research that stuff till I got the job. And then when I remember I got the job, I all of a sudden like fit in all these boxes. I remember feeling more stressed. I was already stressed coming to my alma mater on a bad program that I had to build up. And then all of a sudden I was like fitting in the box, okay, a woman of color, 1 of 2 in the Pac-12, right? And then I was all of a sudden like a mom, so then you fit that box, a former player, a former WNBA player, and a lot of those boxes weren't successful.
Right.
So it's like, it was all this, like you got so much more pressure, like, wow, all these different groups were like, we're relying on you, we need you to do well, we don't get other opportunities, like players don't get opportunities, women of color don't, like moms quit the business. And I remember being like, damn, like, okay. But I didn't really think about that stuff a lot. It wasn't until the next, like 2 years later, I was the only one. And I didn't even realize that until a reporter did a story and asked me about it. And I realized like in our meetings, but I didn't realize I was the only one that year for men and women. Oh, wow. And it was the first time since like 1972. And then it changed when Sharman got the job. So now there's 2 of us again. But I think there's just a little bit more pressure. I think just just historically, women of color, a lot of times that aren't successful, they don't get second chances. Right. A lot of men get chances faster. Women of color usually don't. You get fired. Usually don't get another job. I mean, look at like Tia Jackson was in. A lot of people. Cynthia Cooper is one of the rare, but it's a completely different level now. She went from the Pac-12 and now she's at Texas Southern, and she's like a legend with women's basketball. Yeah. So I think it's just you have to do well, but I think that's just there's all these kinds of pressure with the job, and you just have to do what you do. I don't really buy into that. I think that there's value for players seeing a woman of color be successful. I think there's value to seeing someone like you. I think there's value to a woman being successful. There's value to a mother being successful, a former player, because when you're able to do all those things, like women can aspire to be like you. I didn't have those role models. I didn't ever have a coach where I was like, I want to be like her one day. I want to have a family. I want to be a former player. I didn't have those. Like you didn't have those because this is all new in the last couple generations. Right. So I think there's value to that. I think there are many times. There are, in our head coaching circle at U of A, there are 2 female head coaches. That's insane. And so, like, you don't realize that till you sit back and reflect, and you're like, wow, there's like 19 coaches and there's 2 female coaches. Same at Texas, there's a couple. Same at, probably at Arkansas. There's probably a handful of female coaches. So I think you just understand that's a business. But you know what I can tell you? Being a pro athlete, having adversity as a pro, has completely prepared me for this life. Because there's so much stuff you go through as a pro player, living overseas, being the only American, getting cut from teams, going all over the world. There's so much stuff that all the hardships I've had in my life and all the adversity has completely prepared me for this job. Without all that, I wouldn't be as resilient. You have tougher skin now because you really don't care. you are comfortable in your own skin, all these things. But all the stuff I've done, the times I've been cut, being the best player and the last player on the bench, all those things have really prepared me. The broadcasting I've done has prepared me for the job because I can go on a mic and talk in front of people, do interviews. So like all the jobs and all the steps have helped me be successful today.
Wow, Barnes. That was such a good question. I have only one more question. I mean, such a good answer. So I only have one more question. Yeah, that's what I meant. That was such a good answer that I only have one more question. Okay, so you were basically like an underdog your entire playing career, and you really used that to your advantage to garner a lot of success. So what advice would you give kids that feel they have something to prove and carry that chip on their shoulder?
I think you have to work. I wasn't afraid to work. I worked. I didn't care what people thought. And think about it. Same situation for me as getting a job here. I was the underdog. No one thought I'd be successful. It was funny. Everybody was my friend. Everybody was like, oh, if you need help. Yeah, how many people asked do I need help now? So it's just all those things prepared me for now. Being an underdog going into college, everybody told me not to go to U of A. Left here All-American. You just have to believe in yourself and what you do, but you got to put the work in. I think kids nowadays just talk about, oh, I want to be all Pac-12 the snap. They don't work. I worked. I had a different mentality. You weren't going to beat me in sprints. If I'd been on a team with Ari's way faster than me, I would have been trying to kill her every day. She probably would have beat me all the time, but I would have been catching her days she looks tired. I'd been beating her those days. It's just it's a mentality, and you believe in yourself. You know you're going to put the work in, and you just go for it. I'm not afraid. I wasn't afraid of coming to Arizona and failing. If I failed and I had to move on and I got fired, who cares? I've been cut 5 times. So I'm probably going to get fired one day. And I just, I'm not afraid of failing. I go for it. There isn't a recruit I don't feel like we can get. Yeah. So it's like when I got here, oh, we can't get it. Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah. And why can't we? And we get told no more than yes anyway. So I don't have that mentality. I don't have that we're going to fail. I have the we're going to be good. It's just a matter of time. It's just a completely, because I believe in the work I'm going to put in. I believe in my abilities. And I think that you do things the right way, and you do it with your heart. You can do it. So I don't think you sell yourself short. I think you make a plan. You write down goals. All those things that sound cliche, you have to do. And I think you narrow your focus and you go for it. And it's like I hear a lot of women. Oh, I want to have a baby. I don't know if I can coach and do that. Yeah, you can. Is it hard? Yes, everything's hard. It's like you figure out a way to do it. Like, I'm going to probably have another kid one day. And so all I have to do, is that hard? Yeah, everything's hard. Coaching's hard. Winning is hard. But, like, whatever you do that's worth anything is not easy. So I don't want it easy. I like the challenge. I like the fact now we were the hunters. And now at the top. So for me, it's a new challenge because it's completely different. A lot easier on the bottom when you got to just hunt and get an upset and you can finish 12th. A lot harder now. We're going to be chosen to finish probably first or second. I like the challenge. So I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do. So for me, it's something fun. It's exciting. And I'm not afraid. If we don't, we don't. But, like, no one ever thought we'd be where we are today. So I think you go for it, and you're not afraid. You don't care what people think. You believe in yourself and your abilities, and you push the envelope, and you set your dreams and your aspirations high.